You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodriguez for Black and White Sports. Well, this kind of thing is exactly the reason why this channel has blown up over the last 24 months. The woke sports writer deciding to tell you, as a sports fan, how you're supposed to feel about something that's going on involving the sports world or somebody that plays in the sporting world, like BRITTNey Griner, telling you how wrong you are if you believe she should not, that you're not crying over the fact that she's not being brought home from Russia. If you're not spilling tears. Well, now, I just think what's happened over the last 24 months is we've had a elevation of people's statuses in society that have decided to break the law, almost to hero-like status. In this case, we're seeing a little bit of this. Make no mistake, a lot of Americans have questions right now as to why there are 3 other Americans that are in Russia that seem to have, in Paul Whelan's case, he's at least breaking even with BRITTNey Griner. But you got Mark Fogel and Sarah Kavarnik that have both been over in Russia longer than BRITTNey Griner. But yet, somehow, some way, a basketball player has been moved to the front of the line in getting out of Russia. Also, I think a lot of people are just connoisseurs of common sense. Meaning what? She went over into another country and broke their laws. It's hard to have a lot of sympathy for somebody like that if you're a law-abiding citizen. Plain and simple. But let's get to Phil Mushnick of the New York Post writing about this. I'm kind of surprised by this, but, I mean, okay. I mean, if you want to come out and hammer people because we're not crying over BRITTNey Griner, I guess that's your right. But you can bet we're going to call you out for it. Supporters of BRITTNey Griner's excessive punishment distressingly wrong. My God, just quit the New York Post, go right for the root, okay? Or Deadspin, that'll be another place you could go. As always and forever, it depends. It depends a lot on a lot of things. From how you were raised to your sense of right and wrong to whether you have an obstructive view. So now you're going after people and their upbringings, their moral and value set. That's a little interesting because we're not crying for BRITTNey Griner, isn't it? Friday in this space, I wrote about an excessively harsh punishment, 9 years in a penal labor colony, given to WNBA star and U.S. Olympic gold medalist BRITTNey Griner by a Russian court for carrying pot oil and a vape pipe. Something that you would believe would make her hyper-aware as to what she is bringing into a country. But yet she irresponsibly did it, didn't she, Phil? I wrote that while I was no fan of Griner's demonstration turning her back on our national anthem, yeah, but yet you're writing this. Excessively cruel punishment for minor crimes must never be indulged, let alone smugly supported. In view of Russia's invasion of the Ukraine, it's likely Griner's sentence came attached to geopolitical retribution against a U.S. citizen, thus had more to do with her punishment than her crime. Well, it seems that that statement in itself is probably incorrect due to the fact that it's pretty widely known that in Russia, drug crimes are viewed as serious as murder. And if you would do your research, you would find that out. They believe it is insulting to Russia as a country to have anything to do with drugs. Okay? So whether we view this as a minor thing, and I get it, in the U.S., this is a minor infraction. But in Russia, it's not, and it's considered a serious crime. So, considering there are people serving about the same sentence and has been for a very long time, long before Russia and the Ukraine hooked up, You can't really say this is a political ploy at this point. I expected a mixed response, but not the stringency from those who advocated that she deserves to rot in a prison. That was distressing. Just slam the prison door on her. Goodbye and good riddance. See ya maybe in 2031. I mean, if Russia chooses to let her out before then, okay. My daughters, now adults, one with 2 daughters, will tell you about their old man's open door policy. That when entering and leaving stores, I'd hold the door open for others, often for an excessive amount of time, they said. They'd even comment that people often don't even bother to say thank you. Thus, I was a double fool. Sounds like a triple fool right now. And every time I explained that I didn't hold the door for them, but for me, to make me feel better. That's polite. I've got nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, Phil. Just don't know what it has to do with Brittney Griner at this point. Calling for Griner's punishment to be greatly reduced, if not suspended, has nothing to do with Griner's personal politics and everything to do with what's right, based on her status as both a human and a U.S. citizen. Being human is one thing. Being a U.S. citizen has nothing to do with this, in my opinion anyway. If that punishment is on par with what is normally given out for that kind of infraction in Russia, then it's hard to say she was a target because she was a U.S. citizen. At least that's my understanding from the God knows how many videos I've done, and that we have since found out that this punishment is on par with the punishments normally given for this infraction. Interesting. And in fact, it's the U.S. that sort of made this a virtue signal. Who among us doesn't have a loved one of any age whom they regard as politically naive, even stupid, ungrateful for the freedom to protest whatever they choose? Well, I really don't have a family member that looks at freedom that way, but okay. Would we advocate that they rot in a penal colony for 9 years? Would we allow ourselves to become that embittered? No, we wouldn't. But they're also not stupid enough to take a vape cartridge with cannabis oil into Russia. Not a single solitary one of them are that damn dumb not to be hyper aware of what they have got on their person when they're going into a foreign nation. My God. Or would we actively support their expedited return to freedom as they have been so clearly denied reasonable justice for a minor crime? Reasonable justice to who? I understand, again, in the U.S., minor infraction. In Russia, it's not. Would we not hold the store door open because a man or a woman with political beliefs other than us was approaching? Should we act on our most petty thoughts? I would hold the door open for anybody if I thought they needed it. And it is the polite thing to do. You're right. It also has nothing to do with Brittney Griner's case or her being in Russia. I don't get your point there at all. In 1770, John Adams, a Massachusetts lawyer who lent his intellect and soul to the American Revolution and went on to become the second president, risked his life and liberty to defend British troops accused of murder in the Boston Massacre, which left 5 colonists dead. Adams was vilified by claims of his treason and tyranny because he felt the aggressors were not the British, but a mob of anti-British Confederates. The facts told him the Redcoats, about to be engulfed by a throng fired in self-defense, that Adams resented the crown for having shipped troops to Boston was irrelevant. And no matter his personal peril, Adams wanted a fair trial. Adams won the troops' acquittal, saving their life. Physically short and unimposing, he was exceedingly brave. Brittney Griner should rot in a Russian labor prison for the next 9 years due to her repugnant, unpatriotic positions as a WNBA star, which some she knew better cannabis oil thrown in. Sure, if that makes you feel better, sure. Okay, so obviously you are at fault if you do not have a lot of sympathy and empathy and you're not crying for Brittney Griner's plight right now. I'm not. I'm just not, okay? Yeah, when common sense citizens see something like this, a celebrity that does something like this, yeah, we just shake our head. You broke another country's law. If you do the crime, you have to do the time, whether their version of punishment is harsh compared to ours or not. Okay? So, yeah, all of you people that come to this channel and watch these Brittney Griner videos, it is your fault. You should be crying over Brittney Griner. You should be out there banging the drum for Brittney Griner to come home. And Phil Mushnick says he's got a problem if you don't. Okay. Duly noted. Thanks for telling us all. They'll get her out when they get her out. But do I believe that a basketball player, any athlete, should move to the front of the line because they are just that, an athlete, ahead of other Americans? Hell no. Not no, but hell no. That's one of our problems now is freaking hero worship of sports stars. That's why we came up with a damn t-shirt, our first t-shirt that said defund the athletes. I love sports. I've got a lot of respect for sports players, but they are not policemen, they are not members of military, they are not firefighters, and they are not heroes. And they don't deserve to get any more consideration for getting out of Russia than people that's been over there longer, Phil. And yeah, that's part of the problem here. She's getting pushed to the head of the line, make no mistake, because of her political beliefs is getting her partiality and she's getting moved to the front of the line because of the causes she supported when she was here. Does she deserve that? Not over other American citizens that's been there longer. No, she does not. Shit. Now that fires me up. Tell me what you think, black and white sports supporters. My God. Get all your Kleenexes out every time we drop a Brittney Griner video. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports. Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.